Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Exercise Show. What's up, Mason? How you doing? Mason Twitch 2. What's going on? How you doing today? Today on the stream, I'm going to continue doing level design. Just to go straight, let's get straight into that. Although you're doing great, Mason. That's awesome. You gotta tell me about your day. I'm gonna go straight into level design, and basically, I kind of tweaked the bird superhero guy. I tweaked because I had the artist come in, and he gave me some pointers on tweaking the way the bird guy looked, and he looks a whole lot better now. And I could get into actually creating the utility belt in Blender, and I could get into creating the cape in Blender, but I don't know. I don't think you guys will be interested in that right off. So we're just gonna jump straight into doing game development for Soul 3000. So you see, I was doing the one hallway. So see if we could get that all baked up and everything like that, and then I'm gonna jump into doing the arena where you're supposed to face off with bad guys. But unless someone beat me to the punch and would like to still see a freeform first hour, if not, I'll jump straight into Soul 3000 game development right now. No, again, sometimes I kind of try to leave things kind of open ended, just in case if anyone wants to ask a question or wants to look at something or anything like that. Just throwing this out there to you guys. So if you're watching me on YouTube or you're lurking or whatever it is you normally do, and you're like, man, I wish Exercise Nick would do this one thing, come in, while I'm streaming live. We normally stream at 4 p.m. Eastern time here. Or you could join the Discord and you could ask me a question. Or you could leave a comment on YouTube. I think all the videos on YouTube you can leave comments on. Or you could come on Twitch here and there's a suggestion box. Anyways, guys, let's jump straight into it. Yo, let's go. Hallway 0. What is Hallway 0? Okay, I know what that is. Okay, so if you guys may have seen like in the last video, I had a thumbnail. The thumbnail up was yo, that's a super cool Soul 3000 text. Yeah, thanks. I thought you've seen it before, Mason. Yeah, I can't show every single thing to do with the final game, finals, but you guys will get a little bit here and there, and Mason, thank you for the for the compliment there. So sometimes you might see me every stream. It seems some new cool fun stuff you've done. Thanks, man. Hey, fonts and logos. Yeah, logos are cool things. Matter of fact, it's one of the first set of things. I think I told you guys that one of the first set of things I started to do in 3D was 3D text. So maybe that comes true like that. I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna bake this. We already have what the wall looked like. Even though I think like the wall could be dirtier. What do you guys think? I think the wall could be dirtier. Let's see what it looks like rendered. Because once we start baking it, and it's gonna do a thing. Let's see here. Let's just do a quick render in view here. All right, little tips if you guys are doing baking of materials for games and stuff like that, like what I'm doing. Use cycles. Eevee, doing stuff in Eevee is, you wouldn't really get. How do you bake? Well, sir, you will see that in a few minutes because I'm going to bake this and you'll see exactly. And Mason, if I'm actually working or doing something here and you don't understand, like if like I'm going too fast or something's kind of mixed up, stop me, say, hey Nick, stop, can you repeat that last step, and I'll do it. So we're gonna be baking. Baking takes the render. I'll explain what baking is. Baking takes what you see here in cycles, this render right here, and it puts it into a texture, into the final texture. So when you bring it into the game engine, it looks pretty much exactly like that. Baking stream, oh my gosh. What are you baking? You baking cookies? Baking cakes? I'm so sorry, guys. You know, I know it could be annoying watching somebody doing baking and stuff, but it is what it is. This is part of it. It's not all speed up videos that looks cool with cool music. It's not all that, you know, like you could watch a ton of that on YouTube, and when you do your own stuff, it's, you know, you're not getting the same thing, right? But at least with the long format videos, you could actually see me struggle. And you could say, oh, wait a minute, I actually feel like it's possible to do anything because look, this one guy is struggling. Anyways, yeah, so. I'm going to add a layer of dirt over all of this, right? So that's what I'm going to do. Layer of dirt over everything. So let's see how we could do that, right? So the first thing is that we got to make like a dirt thing. So let's zoom into here. Let me see if I can zoom in here, guys. Okay. If anyone out there, Mason, if you can't see what I'm talking about clearly or whatever it is, just let me know so I know how to arrange Blender and to zoom in and all that. I'm gonna try to zoom in here. Okay, so this here is my this here. Well, I wish there was more sheen to it, but it's all good. All right, so this is the texture I have for the walls. Let me just kind of rotate here so you can kind of see a little bit of the environment, so it's not like you're looking at a texture. Okay, right here. Okay, so you got some red in there. Okay, how about right here? Right, so right here you see like the texture of the wall, but I think like there should be more grime happening, right? So I'm gonna add some noise for some grime. Can't you just up the sheen slider? That would be nice. Yeah. So yeah, textures, you know, like once you deal with materials, shaders in here, also known as materials, what end up happening is that even though there's like a sheen, right, you need no, that was a serious question. Okay. If you up the sheen slider, I don't think it will work. Right, in the principal BSDF. So I think like what sheen is really trying to do is kind of like another sheen. All right, so sheen in the principal BSDF here. This was what Mason was talking about. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you guys. See, sheen in here is like another specular highlight. So it kind of gives you two specular highlights. Actually, you get three, right? You get specular, right? Specular right here. Specular and metallic kind of works together. Then you get sheen, right? Right, so sheen is more of a broader type thing. And then you have clear coat. Clear coat wants you to feel like a layer on top of everything, right? So you can make some, you know, the Blender developers are really good by adding all this stuff here in the principal BSDF, because you can get some really nice shiny glossy materials by using those three parameters. So yeah, sheen, right? Sheen is like when you say the sheen of your hair, you know, your hair is like, you know, sheen, but it's also shiny, right? So yeah, that is a lot of options, and I think I've played with each of them, and they definitely have their they definitely have their thing. I think like if like you're doing a soap bubble, if you're doing a soap bubble with that kind of rainbow kind of thing, you may want to go with a clear coat for that. And also it's for cars too. A car has a clear coat on top of the shiny paint, right? So it's like another specular. But let's add dirt to this guy. I think I want to dirty it up a little bit more. The quickest way I know how to do that, guys, is just to go in here and add a noise texture. So let's go in here. I added another shader, mix shader, so I can mix in the noise with what I have here. So the shader is kind of somewhat complex, a little bit, not too much. So I'm just gonna go ahead. Let's click. Let's type noise. This is a noise texture. Right, so if you want to see what the noise texture look like on this Blender, you could now hold Shift Control in the new Blender, Shift Control, and click on the node, and you'll see it display. I'm gonna experiment and screenshot what all of those options do. Yeah, for sure. Somebody may have beaten you to it too outside online too. Just let's check that out. But yeah, that's a good little thing there. What I normally do, I make like a sphere or use a Suzanne head, and I just play around with the different shaders. But you really see what each shader does, what each option does by plugging in like a bitmap like image in each thing. Then you kind of almost see what each thing does. That's just a little thing if you want to check it out that way. Okay, so I'm gonna preview this noise. So this is what this noise looks like in here. It looks pretty terrible. So I'm going to in this noise material, I'm gonna tell it to use the UVs of this object. So I already have that here. I wanted to use new mapping, right? So I'm just gonna duplicate this. So I'm gonna have new mapping for the noise. I'm going to use the object. Why is this using the object? What is going on here? It's not using the UVs? Whatever. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's right. Okay, so I'm going to plug in the object here in the vector. Okay, and I'm going to plug this into my noise right here. Okay, I know what's going on here. I'm using a separate UV object. And that's a specific thing in Blender. So you can see, look, if you look carefully now, you can start to see the noise showing up. In Blender, you could use another object as a UV coordinate of another object. So it's almost like using box mapping and spherical mapping and cylindrical mapping. I don't think Blender has that by default. I should check the new one and see if they have that in there. But that may be a thing that's slightly lacking in Blender. I'm not sure how they approach that in Blender. I know in other programs it's independent of everything. Blender only shows that when you work with the different mapping types, when you work with like an image. Let me see if I have an image in here real quick. Let's see. Okay, so I have a concrete panel image, right? If you look here, you could see, let me zoom in here. Can you guys see this? So like Blender, like I put like box, right? So look at box. They have spherical, and this is like a cylinder. This is a tube, right? For like and they have it in there for like an image. Right, that's special. A lot of people don't really change this part right here, but this is under linear. You know, you could choose. This is a different aliasing, anti-aliasing, I think, or the different filtering, the different filtering of the texture. Sorry, my bad. Different filtering options. So under that, there's like you could tell it to project the texture as a box or as a tube or as a sphere. That's really important, and I could demonstrate what that is in a little bit there. I'll demonstrate that separately in a few minutes, what those things actually do. But other programs have that independently of, you know, of an image texture. Like you could just apply it to like anything. I'm not sure if Blender has it like that, but we'll see. Anyways, this is the noise. I'm going to add more detail to the noise. Let's go up. Let's go 3 level. So noise, let's see here. Okay, so that's level 3 in detail. I'm going to preview it in, no, we are previewing it in cycles. Let's go back here. Let's see if we can preview it in the material shader. Okay. Let's play with the scale here. The location is a little weird. I'm gonna fix that. Okay, I just fixed the location. Let's see the scale. I'm gonna go 1 to make the scale so you can see the noise better. So this noise is going to represent like dirt on the surface. That's basically what I'm trying to do. I believe I need a little more detail there. So another thing that gives you more detail is a roughness, 0.7. There you go. That's a little more detail. And let's see. Wow, that scale. Can we make the scale bigger? Let's go 10. Whoa. What, we want to go 3 on that? And let's add a detail level of 6. Wow. Let's zoom out and see what we get. Now to control the dirt here, the only thing else you want to do is to add like a ramp. That really controls the dirt a little bit better. And you could even add distortion to this. I don't know if you guys can clearly see this. Hopefully you guys could clearly see this. These are things, but if you add a little distortion, look what the distortion does. It kind of swirls stuff around. Isn't that cool? Look at that. It's kind of like you take a smudge tool to it. Oh yeah, I can zoom a little bit in. Thank you, sir. Thank you for interacting. I'm gonna zoom in. Can you see this? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a ramp. You'll be able to see things a little clearer. I'm gonna add a ramp. The color ramp is a big deal in the material editor of Blender. Like, it's serious. It's really that serious. Okay, so I'm gonna select this color ramp. Give it a second. Okay, so I'm previewing the color ramp. Let's see. Now you can see it a little clearer. So I added some distortion to it, and that kind of gives it a kind of swirly kind of thing. I'm gonna put it back to 0. I don't want any distortion. I just want blotches of like dirt. So this is gonna add this kind of, yep. Thanks, Mason. So I think this dirt is a little too much. It probably should be bigger, and it shouldn't be like a little patchy like that. Because if you're down on the ground, right, as a character, and you're looking up, it just looks really splotchy, and you don't want like I wouldn't want that. That's basically it. I don't want it. So let's make it a little bit bigger, and let's make it a little more localized. Not everything, you know. You just want like a section like that has dirt, and the rest is clean and clear. All right, let's do something like this. Yeah, you could make a dream animation. It kind of like wobbly. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's scale this up. So the scale goes a little backward. So let's put us back at 1. I'm going to use a scale in here and scale it up. Let's go 3, 3, 3. Oh, is that making it? So the scales are backwards, guys, right? So check this out. So you see how I added scale to this? It actually made it smaller, right? So let's go back 1 here, size 1. So if you want the scale to be bigger, you just have to like go backward. And that's what trips people up. I don't know why that is. But let's say the scale is 0.5, right? And then where it affects, it's more blotchy. Look at that. This is the overall wall, and to me this looks more realistic. Like parts of it would have these blotches, not like the whole thing like blotchy, right? The only bad thing about doing what I'm doing here is because the wall is actually going to be mirrored. You'll probably see the blotches mirrored a little bit, but we're not gonna, you know, we'll see what we could do with this. You know what's a cool thing I want to do? I want to have this dirt only happen down here on the bottom of the wall, right? So this is a challenge. So in order to bring this patch of dirt that I have here lower down here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the location on the, remember we have a mapping node. The mapping node is so that you could move the texture, the procedural texture, or any image around on the object. So if I move the location on the Z down like that, see the image moves like that? That's cool. So I'm going to move it down so we get some blotchy on the bottom there. I'm going to move it down until it's kind of all right. Look at that. But you see, the thing is, like on the bottom, I wish there was more blotchiness. So let's see here. Let's see what we could do. Let's back up here. Let's back away on that a bit. Let's make that a little more blotchy like that. Okay, so the only thing we have to do now is to actually add like some white coming down this way. So if we could add like a gradient white and erase some of this noise here, then we'll be good. Check it out. So this is what I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to do it, guys. It's not. I'm not guaranteed to get everything perfect. So we're gonna mix a ramp. So I'm gonna copy this ramp, and instead of it going into a noise, I'll make another mapping node so I can move the ramp around, like so. And I'm going to plug in. That's good. The mapping node helps you move things around. So that's this node here. So once you add a mapping, you can move your textures around the object. So I'm going to plug in my UVs here. I'm telling it to take the coordinates from the UV. Well, actually it's from an object, right? But we could talk about that later. It's coming from an object, a specific object I have in this scene. And I can even give it a different object, but for now we'll use this one. My node is a little bit far, so I'm gonna bring it a little bit close just to hook it up. Oh, look at that, guys. Oh no. Hooked up to the wrong thing. Let's plug this back in here. Let's get rid of that. Okay. It's just a logistics thing, guys. Okay. It's gotta. Okay, so I plug that in. Now I can move it back into position. Okay. I want to make a gradient from top here to the bottom here, so that this top here is going to be white and the bottom could have noise. So let's get the gradient happening first. So this is a new. Let's put this back like so. Hopefully everything will work. One way to find out. Okay, so I plug that into the factor. Let's preview what this color ramp by itself is going to be. Okay, so you see like the black is over here and the white is here. We want it opposite. We want the black on top and the white on the bottom of all the wall pieces. So we're going to try for that. Okay, give me a second here. Let me just organize this here. Okay, so this is where I personally run into some issues. Is basically I feel like sometimes Blender doesn't want to go perfectly left to right and perfectly up and down, and that could be just my. I know there's like a specific way it wants to handle this, right? But I'm just gonna go trial and error by rotating. I'm gonna essentially rotate this here by going into rotation right here. This is rotation, and I'm going to rotate this color so black is on top and white is on the bottom. Let's try it. Okay, so let's try for the X. I'm not sure if X is the right way. Let's try Y. X. Y. Okay, look, I'm getting something here, guys. So you see that? Okay, this is what it is here. I think this, we could see it balancing out there. Okay, look, we kind of got it, guys. So is this 40? Does this want to be 45? Yep. And what does this want to be? 180 maybe? You see, this is a part that doesn't make sense to me. Like, why is this like an odd number like 146? You know? You could. I was like, what? What kind of number is that? 130? Nope. 120? Nope. 145? What? Kind of weird number is that? Anyways, we got our thing there. Right? It's probably doing it based upon the object I have. Let's see here. So let's move the location up so that this black part here is to the top and the white part is to the bottom. All right. Again, guys, this is not perfect, but we're gonna see. Okay, so we got that. I'm gonna move the black down. Okay, so you see what's happening here? This is where it ends right here. We want this to be all the way down. And I think there's something like a remapping node where you could remap it so that it actually fits. And I think it's also to do with the object that I think it's mostly to do with the object. So let's make a new object that's going to control this, the UV. And I know it may be confusing to you guys, but I'm going to show you guys an example of what I'm talking about in a minute. I'll show and tell. So I'm going to add a UV object, right? And the way to do that in Blender is you just take your node, wherever you want to put the object, you just put the 3D cursor there. I'm going to put my 3D cursor right here by the wall, and I'm going to Shift A, and the UV object I'm going to use is a regular empty, right? So you see the empty is formed right there. I'm going to change the empty to look like a cube, and to do that, come in here to the right, click on that. And instead of plain axes, I'll show you guys. Hold on here. Instead of plain axes over here, I'm going to choose cube. So the empty is a cube, right? I'm going to give this cube a specific name. F2. I'm going to call it UV underscore wall. Now this is the way I learned how to do kind of like mapping really quick. Why not just spawn a cube? Yeah, I guess you could use a cube. It's no big deal. You could use a cube, but I just like UVs because I just like using the empty because it's it doesn't render. So if you don't want this object to render, and plus empties feel very much like for utility. It's just an object out there. That's why I visualize it as a cube. But you could use a cube, if that's cool. Okay, guys, I'm gonna turn the volume down on this music a little bit here. Gotta hear myself think. Yeah, but that's a good question, Mason. Why not just use a cube? Yeah, I just like to know objects that that are kind of what I call utility objects. I like to have them as empties and kind of stuff like that. Okay, so we're gonna make this gradient texture that we're trying to make on the wall. We're gonna have this object here be the controller for that, right? So we're gonna go back here, right? And this is the gradient right here. Let's pull the gradient back like this. Let's do the gradient like that. And remember, this is a mapping. And remember on what it's going to what I call the UV, but it's not really a UV, it's just a texture coordinate, right? And you see how it has object here? So I'm gonna make a new texture coordinate, right? And under object, right, you see it has this UV2, which is a object in here. We made UV wall, right? So I'm gonna have it choose UV wall. And type UV, right? And the wall, this is the cube that we just made. I named it UV wall. Select that. So now we're going to have that drive this gradient. So this box is going to drive that gradient. And I'll show you guys exactly what that does in a minute. Hold on. Have some patience. So so right now it's an object, right? So it says object right here. What object? If I choose the texture coordinate, you could go UVs, which is UVs, or you could go generated, which is kind of like virtual. Or you could go object. You can even do a camera or the window, or you can even do a reflection. So I could walk through all these things. It took me a while to understand this, and this is really powerful stuff here in Blender. So I am using an object, and the object is what this box that we just created called UV wall, which is in here. You get to choose it right here. I'm going to plug that in, object, in the mapping. So you see now, notice how the thing went straight to that. Okay. So I'm going to here. Now there's a way to have all this, let's go locations to the location to 0. Excuse me. And the rotation, remember all the rotation stuff we were doing? Let's 0 that out for now. Actually, let's put that back. Put that back like that. Put that back like that. Okay. We're going to have this object control the fade on that. So I'm going to have this object that I just made control what this is. But there's a special way to map this object to it, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but we're going to try to figure it out. So let's see here. This goes to here. So this is that 1? No, is that 2? That doesn't feel right, but that could kind of work. Yes, as a constraint, that's correct. I'm setting up a constraint for this gradient. So you see where this black starts? That's at the top of that. There's a specific number you're supposed to put in here, but I can't remember. And the Y, I can't remember exactly. I think the Y might be 1.7 also. I'm not sure, but the one way to find it is just making another color in here. Let's try it. And let's give that color, let's put the white all the way down here. And let's give this like a specific color. You see, like it doesn't quite get the edge of the cube. So let's go ahead. Let's see. Yes, I think it may be 0.5. Minus 0.5. Yeah, see, that doesn't seem right. I don't know why it's operating like this, guys. But we'll just take what we get right here for now. Okay, so I know that's the edge. Okay, so now we could do our gradient. Let's get rid of that red. Okay. So now if you scale this box, or if you move it around, everything should move with it. Grab, you see? Everything would move with the thing. Let's scale the box. Alright. Let's get a little move tool here. And remember, it's not really a box, it's an empty, so I use this when I'm doing like buildings and I want to get brick and all that sort of stuff. That's what I use this for. This is the equivalent of like what 3D Studio Max has, like a gizmo, what they call a gizmo that does this. Okay, let's just select this on the wall, and let's get the box to encapsulate the wall better. Let's go to the side again. Oh, look, as I scale, guys, you see how it's not perfect, how this top part there is not matching up. We'll check that out in a minute. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be close, right? Okay, so we know that that's encompassing. So this is a UV set for that. So I'm gonna come in here. Let's adjust this here. I think it wants 2. Or whatever. Yeah, this thing is odd right here. All right, so we got that. So now, because we know that from here to here is properly mapped, we could adjust this slider and everything would adjust properly like that. All right, this is what I do. Right, so we're gonna come here. Right, we wanted the dirtiness to just kind of be mostly on the bottom. So this is gonna act as a mask. Right. Let's come in here. We're gonna mix these two. So we got this here. Let's put this aside. Put that aside. Right. We're gonna mix these two. So we're gonna get a mixed texture node. So there's a mixed shader and there's a mixed texture. We're gonna mix a texture in here. And remember, this is all procedural, guys. You know, which is really cool. You know, procedural. No matter how much you zoom in, it doesn't get pixelated. So let's come in here and let's add a mixed texture. Or mixed color node. Sorry, excuse me. Mixed color, right? And I want, for the mixed color, I want to plug in this dirt, this procedural dirt kind of noise thing that we made. Maybe I could have the black be a little more, it could be a little more black in there. Oops, wrong thing. It's this one. Let's come here. Yeah, let's do a little more of that. Okay, so black is nothing. Let's say white is the dirt, right? White is the dirtiness. Let's do that. So I feel like maybe it should be inverted. Let's see if we invert this by just swapping it, if it'll work. So black is nothing and white is the dirt. Let's just say that. Let's try ease. Let's see if we get a more subtler thing. I know B-spline is even subtler. Yeah. Something like that. Maybe that's too subtle. Well, let's go back to ease. Alright, this is where you could just like sit down and just tweak to your heart's content. So okay, so all this white stuff is going to be dirt down there, which is, I'm happy with that for now. So let's mix these two. We're going to mix this. Oh boy. Show up wherever you are. Okay, we're going to mix this with that. Alright, so this is going to be a mask. So let's plug this into the mix shader. I believe this is supposed to be on top. Let's preview the mix. So you see the mix already has that in there. And the easiest thing we could do is to tell it to do like a multiply, or you could have it control. You could have this control the factor, right? And I'll show what I mean by that. So let's turn this to black, like so, and let's have this gradient control the factor. Let's see. So it needs to be inverted. So let's go ahead and plug this down here. Yep, and let's make this black. You see? So that, there you go. So now with this gradient, we could just do like that and control like how much dirt on the bottom we want. You can even go a step further and actually add a noise to this. That's like another step. It might be a bit much, but you could try to rough up the edge, because the edge, you know, is really kind of like, ugh. Yeah, that's a Oh man. Maybe you could even, you know what you could do? You could add another gradient. That's what you could do, guys. We're adding gradients on top of gradients on top of gradients. Oh man. Let's try easing that fade. Okay, that's a lot better. That fade is a lot easy. Let's do that. Let's just do this, right? And let's instead of having an even fade like that, let's see what will happen if we add another gradient in here. Oh my gosh, like this color ramp. I call it, it's not actually a gradient, it's a color ramp, but you know, whatever. Semantics. Okay, look at that. So now I added to the result, I added that. So now if I do that, it actually eats away. Rather than having a stupid fade, it just eats away at what's there a little bit. So to me, that feels a little more natural. Right, so the bottom of the, you know, so if this looks cool just like this, much less if we try to shade it, right? So let's so you say, Nick, why are we doing all of this? Oh, I'll show you. So check this out. So now this is gonna drive the dirt, right? So let's plug this guy. Let's plug our shader into here, right? And plug that back into here. We're gonna preview this. So we're gonna plug our shader back in here. Right, so this is our shader right here, right? This is the texture of the wall, or these concrete blocks. Let's make sure and save first before the whole thing crashes. I hate for it to crash now. Okay, so I'm doing a mix shader, and I'm gonna add a shader that I like to add, like straight up diffuse BSDF to represent dirt. You could do whatever you want, but that's just what I like. So, oh, what happened? Okay, hold on, guys. Let's get it back. Okay, there we go. All right, so plug that back in. Okay, let's do it like that. Give it a second. There you go. Okay, so let's add a diffuse BSDF. Diffuse. Okay, so this is a diffuse BSDF. This is gonna be the material that represents dirt, right? Right now we're gonna have white dirt. So if I plug this in here, let's see. If I do like that, it should be white. Give it a second. Oh, there you go. It's white. Yeah, we could just tell by it if we just change the color. There you go. So we want to control like how much of this dirt color, but we should preview this in cycles, right? So let's come out of this isolation mode here, and let's preview this in cycles, because cycles is going to show you exactly what all this looks like. So this is what this looks like in cycles, right? This dirt is pretty boring. It's kind of orange actually. Oh boy, I hope you guys' day was good, man. Okay, I'm gonna turn up the roughness on this. This is pretty. If you look at this dirt is pretty flat, right? Right, but we're not gonna get too detailed into it. Now, if I plug in the thing that I just made into the factor, let's see what we get. Okay, I'm thinking that maybe I need to flip it. Let's hope. Let's put this in there. Oh, yep. We needed to flip it. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Oh, look at that. So it's the opposite. Let's why? But wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. So that's that. This is that. Come on, you go. Huh, I don't even see the dirt. Okay, let's see here. I'm just gonna add an invert node and see what happens in this thing here. Maybe that's what's going on. There may be a weird thing happening because I added a ramp, but let's see. Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Let's add an invert node just in case. That should work, but sometimes because it's like all procedural, like, yeah, look at that. So, oh my gosh, so that's working like that. This doesn't want to show. Hold on, guys. Let me plug the result here instead. Is this actually working? Okay, I'm gonna have to scale. I'm gonna have to back up a bit. Back up. Let's undo this. Mix shader. Why isn't that showing? Hold on here. Let me give it a weird color. Oh, it's there. It just wasn't okay, it was mixing in a weird way. That's was yeah. I put like some pink and all of a sudden it's showing up. Oh, it's doing some sort of color transfer. Okay, okay. So if I put black, it's like okay. Bring up the roughness here a bit. Go white. Yeah, if I do something like white, it's actually, huh. But that's interesting. Okay, well maybe I'm going a little bit overboard by pushing another shader into there. For some reason Blender does not like that in here. And that could be the difference between the new Blender and the old Blender. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually plug that into, instead of having it drive like another shader, which it should do. It shouldn't have any problems with that. But it only wants to do it if I put like a bright color in here, like blue or something. And that's not dirt, right? Dirt is not blue. Hold on here. Let me preview this for a minute. Give me a second, guys. Let me see what's up. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Is it because we're not previewing it like this? Yeah, it doesn't want to show it. So I don't know what's going on with the mix shader here. So maybe I'm at some point where I'm kind of capping off. See, mix. Let's go in here. Factor. I wonder if I change the factor here. Hold on here. Let's see what's going on. Instead of mix, let's go with multiply. Where's that multiply? I wonder if somehow this is like going through and kind of filtering through. Let's do that. Yeah, see, like, look, it's showing up now. I think it's starting to show a little bit. Don't clamp. Maybe the clamp also is messing it up. Yeah, see, like, look at that. Hold on. Let's just preview this. Some really odd behavior here. Hold on, guys. Let me see if I can get to the bottom of this. Ugh. Let's preview that. Why is this displaying like this? Yeah, that's some really odd behavior. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do it through the texture instead. I mean, that's a shame, but we could do it through the texture, no biggies. No big deals. Let's go back into here like so. And let's turn this to mix. Yep, mix color. And let's do that in the shader. So this would be the finals. It's one of those things, you know, where you know, you try to do something and it doesn't quite work because of some technical limitation, but let's see how we could do it on the shader side, on the bitmap side. So I'm looking for that concrete thing. So this is a concrete one. Right. And this has some ambient occlusion mixed in here. So it already has like a mixed thing happening here. We're gonna add our dirt on top of that. Hopefully this is not too complex for it, and it will actually do it, which would be great. I'm gonna bring this over here and we're gonna add another mix. Right, I'm gonna mix these two. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So in the fact, the dirt to the top, right, that's the dirt, and the bottom is actual texture. Okay, so we want the actual texture here. Right. And we're gonna mix, we're gonna use this. Let's plug this in right here. Okay, so it's showing up here. Plug that in there. Okay. Come on, you. Wow, what's going on here? Alpha value. It doesn't like that. Maybe because I flipped something here? Okay, we could flip it this way. Like this works. Whatever. That's really odd that works like that, but at this point in time I'm taking what I could get. Okay, that's not to show up there a little bit. That's really faded. Let's go linear instead of ease. Let's go back to ease. Okay, we got a little bit of that. Okay. Got a little bit of this. Yeah, let's make this a little more. Let's bring this up. Alright, so in the end, you know, I'm just like adjusting it based upon the results I get here in cycles. Because in the end, that's kind of what we want. See, like this is too much. Like I want a little more detail in that, so I gotta back away on some one of these shaders here. Back away. Okay, yeah, that added a little bit more. Just back up. I just want like kind of like these blotches. See here. So in the end, you just gotta like tweak until you see what you want, kind of thing, right? It is what it is. Right? And in any case, we want it subtle anyway. Okay, so I might want to add on the noise. We want to add more. We want more patches happening. So let's see here. Noise texture. Right, the scale I put at 0.5. Let's put 1. So it's gonna add a little bit more. It's pretty detailed. Okay, so spreading it a little bit. Okay. Alright, just gonna continue adjusting here. Okay. Don't want it to look too stupid. You know, like, oh, like all these big, like, oil stains on the thing. Let's just zoom down. I think this is good enough. I should just add a little bit of dirtiness on there. Not perfect, but it's something on there. Maybe I might want to back away on that a bit. This is the overall color of it. So let's see. Let's go a little more into that. Or let's go more. Oops. Let's go more into this. Go more into brown maybe. Let's take a look. Okay, let's make it less saturated. A little darker. Okay. This is clamp result. Let's do that. All right. So yeah. So I would call that done. Wow. Well, look at that. You know. Roughness. Say, hey, you know, I tried to do something and it gave me a different result. You know, I had to like kind of try to work with that result. You know, but it's close to what it is I wanted. Maybe I do make that bigger. Let's see. Let's back away on the. This is 0.3. Ah, that bigger blotch is what's up. See that bigger blotch right there, guys? Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, that's better. Now it looks like something. See, now it looks like a little dirtiness happening there. Without, yeah, that's way better. Tweak and tweak, I always say. Bam! That's ready to rumble. It's part of what it is. So let's, seeing that we dealt with this, let's deal with this first. Let's bake this first. Let's put it to bake. Okay, let's go back into here. Right. And anything that the way that I work on this stuff is that anything that's finished, I put it on this layer called export. So let's hide this layer, and anything that I'm currently working on, I put it on a layer called working, like so. These things should be export. Right here. C, select that, M, put that in export. That terrain, that's the level tiles. Yep. And these are just 3 positions we could replicate back in engine. So, you know, I'll just put them in export just to. And even the level tiles are going to be done in engine. Because we have those in engine already. Let's put that in export. Okay. Let's deal with the first things first. Let's go tab. Let's see how this is built. So this is literally built. Yeah, this is built where this is the thing that's being replicated. Right, so let's make a duplicate of this. Let's open up the working thing here. Let's make sure this is correctly named. This is not metal rib, this is a wall. So this would be let's see, let's give this proper names. This is hidden area wall, hallway wall. Hidden area, I'll go HA, hidden area. Hallway underscore wall. Go like that. And these are metal, let's put call this hidden area underscore metal rib and an S. Or I'll put hallway. Bam. Okay, we're going to deal with these two things first. I always like to denote what is higher as opposed to what is, you know, what is the lower the game ready version. Game ready versions, I normally like to say low res or put low next to it. You know, I mean it's not ideal, but it's cool for one man. You know, whatever comes easiest to you, easy for you to remember, especially if you're a solo developer. Make it somewhat understandable for someone else to come on board, but also, you know, make it easy for yourself. See here, so I'm gonna duplicate this guy, right? And all I need is one piece, right? So I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna get rid of the mirror. So it's just basically just one piece right here. I'm gonna use this, I mean, that's what we're gonna texture on. So what I wanna do is to go ahead and press Shift A, guys, to make sure everything is zeroed out, and then we want to UV map this, right? Easiest way, let's go into UV editing right here, and this is where I like to bake. I like to bake in where it has UV editing, so I'm gonna change my UV editing a little bit. My UV editing room here, I'm gonna make the bottom a shader editor, right? And this is how I like to do this stuff. I like to come over here, I have my UVs ready to look at, like so, right? And let's come here under the working thing, right? So I made a duplicate, so we're gonna call this wall, I'm gonna call this low res. Okay, so this is the game ready asset here, and let's go T on that. I like to split this view here, so I like to split the view here because we're gonna bake. So in this view on the bottom here, I like to tell it to look for, come here under filters and tell it to instead of do all, do selected and turn off collections. So we want to know that we're going to bake from this big wall to the small to the game ready asset. That's what we want to do. Or we want to bake 4 maps. The 4 maps I bake for Soul is the diffuse, right, which is the color layer, right? Then I bake the metallic layer in case if there's any little bits of metal in what it is I'm baking, right, in the material. I like to bake the shiny or specular layer, which is yeah, I think that's what they call it, right? I like to bake that layer. I think that layer goes as I remember, actually no, actually I like to bake the roughness layer next. So the roughness layer goes into that. The metalness layer is the shininess, right? So I bake bake the shininess into the metal, then I bake the roughness, and then I bake a normal map. So that's the 4 maps I bake, right? So we have the low res selected. You know how I know that? Because we made a window right here that anything I have selected, that's all that shows up in this window. So you can't screw around. Look at this, it has a complex material on it. So on the game ready asset, we want to make a new material for that. So we're going to get rid of this material, and we're going to go new, and we're going to name, I like to name my game materials. That's going to go into Godot. This almost the same thing as the actual object, so it can never be confused. So I copy the object name, right? And then I put underscore MAT for material. So I know that's the game ready material right there. I stick with the principal BSDF, whatever the Blender default, right? And in this next window underneath here, I go to the baking panel. So you have to make sure that you're in cycles. Everything that you do should be in cycles for baking, right? I make sure my denoising is good. So like the viewport and render, you could turn up your render amount so that you get nicer, like it bakes it a little bit nicer. But I'm gonna leave it at 64 and see what I get, because 64 is pretty quick. Stick with my GPU because it's fast. If you don't have a good GPU, just stick with your CPU. Samples. And then right here has bake, right? If you look under performance as bake. So what I like to do, I'd like to take that bake tab and bring it up. So I have it right there. Right, so this is what you want. You want to go from this wall here, this wall object, to this low res wall. So first you have to select the wall object like so, the big one, and then hold control in, and you could do this in the list view, and click on the game ready one, and we'll jump to that one, right? But we need to UV map the low res one, right? So let's do that. Go tab, select all the polys, press U, and we're gonna go with a smart, let's see, a smart UV project. And I like to tune up the area weights to, I believe like 1, and the island margin maybe like 0.3 or something to start with. And all this should be good to go. Press OK, and it'll make automatic UVs for it off the bat. Now I'm seeing some weird things. So anytime you do stuff like this and you see anything weird, you could just inspect it, and you just click this sync selection button up there in the UV, select the UVs, and let's take a look and see what's looking weird in here. And to me, things that look weird are things that look like triangles and all that. Just make sure it's actually looking like that, and yes, it is. So we're good to go. So I'm going to select all the UVs here, and we're going to pack them. You could pack it using Blender's packing, but I have a special plugin that does like really nice packing, but let's use Blender. So come here in Blender, pack islands, right? Blender has a pack islands thing. I would leave everything as is for now and just press OK and see what it does. So this is how Blender would pack it. Let's go back in it again. Let's go pack islands. So I want to make the margins a little smaller because there's a lot of space. I'm going to back away on that. So I'm just going to go instead of 0.3, probably do like 0.1 or something. Let's press OK. And it's going to pack it a little tighter. See? This is Blender's packing. I have a special plugin called UV Pack Master I got just for this stuff. And let's see if UV Pack Master does a better job than Blender. Yes, it kind of did. So it packed that really tightly. Right? Because this asset here is pretty critical, right? What I like to do, this is how I like to pack stuff, right? Go into isolation mode so I could just see the low res stuff, and anything that has the largest. Alright, so this is how I approach packing stuff, right? Anything that has the largest surface area or that you see the most, I select those things and pack those things first, and then everything I packed around that. So I'm going to select these faces, because these faces is what you see, especially these over here. These large ones is what you see the most. Right, so I'm just going to select those, like so. Right? Everything else is kind of secondary in my eyes for now. Right? Select this. Right, so to me these are the biggest things. And actually if you're walking in the game, these side panels is also a big deal. But I think these surfaces is a lot more of a big deal. So I'm gonna just select those. And you notice because we have sync selection on, they're selected in here. So I'm gonna grab these out, put these to the side, right? And everything that's inside of the squares to me is secondary. Is, not that important. It's important, but not that important. I'm going to grab these and put these to the side. Now I'm going to select these and tell Blender to just pack these polygons into this square. But I have UV Pack Master, so I'll let the Pack Master do it because it does a slightly nicer job. So go ahead, pack. So look, it took these major polygons and it totally packed them, made them fill up the entire texture area. So this is cool. If you want now, you could tell these secondary ones to pack in the rest of the space that's left over. But I happen to know that the space that's left over is very small. It's just a very edge. So I'm going to scale these down. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to put the 3D cursor here. I'm going to scale everything towards the 3D cursor. So I have all these here, and I'm going to create. Basically, I'm going to try to create a little more space so these other UVs could have a little more space and they would have more resolution. Okay, so I'm going to scale these down a little bit, like this. Right. So I have more space for the other UVs, and I'm going to tell the other UVs to take up the rest of the space here. Now, this is another tip. Whenever you have long UVs, long triangles, like long strips or stuff like this, if you want to pack it really tight, just break them up. And the way you do that is that first of all, you come off of sync. You turn off sync UVs. Then you press A to select back everything, and then click in there, and then you're gonna select like half of the long UVs, like this. Right? You select half of them like that. Then you press G for grab, and you move it aside. So you're essentially breaking these long ones into shorter ones. And the way you do that is you make sure that the sync selection is off, and you come in here. This is important, where sticky selection mode is, and use disable. You disable it, and that allows you to break your UVs. Right? So like I select half of these long ones here and grab it, and that kind of breaks up the long. So that would allow it to pack tighter. So like some of these long ones right here, probably like up to here. Let's break that in half, and maybe this long one here, break it in half. So we have a bunch of shorter ones. And remember, we made space in the UV thing here. So I'm going to select all these ones that we just broke up. And these now are the secondary. These are the ones that are not so important. And in the pack master, I'm going to tell it to pack 2 others. So it's going to take up the rest of space. Pack 2 others. See, look at that. So put all the secondary things in here. All right. So I think that looks great for now. All right. So this is this entire wall packed up in this UV space. Let's select everything. Let's just kind of look over this real quick. I have some space on top of here, so I'm just going to grab all the UVs. See, grab and then press Y, and let's move them up a bit. So we have some even space on the bottom and on the top. The sides are even. Okay, so this is packed tight. Right? We want it to take up as much space on the square texture that we're about to make. Okay. So now let's make that square texture. So in here, this is the easiest way. I used to do it. I used to make new images in the UV image editor, and I realized that was a little bit confusing. So let's go ahead and save what we just did. And here in the material editor, I'm going to Shift A, texture, image texture. Right? I made an image texture. What do you want to do right in here? You want to click new. Right? And the name, I'm going to give it this exact same name as the object, Control V. I already had it copied. Right? But at the end of it, I'm going to tell it what texture map I want this to be. I want this to be the diffuse map. I always start with the diffuse. So DIF for me. I put it at the end. So whatever texture I make is going to be diffuse. The size of the texture, because this is so big, we could go with a 4096 size. Because there's a lot of information in this. I'm going to go 4096. That's a 4K image. We could always make it smaller if it's too big. And I'm going to turn alpha off because we don't want any alpha in here. Right? And then we press OK. And bam, look, it just made a black texture that we're going to use. Right? So this is made up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this node 4 times for the 4 different textures. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I happen to know the fourth one is going to be our normal map. So I'm going to bring in a normal thing here for Blender. I'm going to go vector, normal map. Right? I'm going to plug that into the normal right here. Because in order for you to see normals in Blender, you need to make this node. Right? So let's go back to our tippy top one, this one here, the diffuse. Right? I'm going to press tab to come out of here. I'm going to come out of isolation mode. Now we're going to select the big wall first, and then we're going to select our low res game asset, which is this right here. So this control selected right here, and we're going to bake from this big one to the one that's blank. So it's basically it's going to throw all the shading from cycles into this new image. So under bake, we want to make sure that the bake type, we don't want combined. Combined is all the light. You could do combined if you want, but combined is all the lighting of cycles that's going to be baked in here. So it's going to look pretty cool, but when you put it in engine and you add actual lights from the engine, it's going to look weird, right? So if you want that, you could do that, but I don't want that. I just want the color information. I'm going to make different maps that's going to work in Godot. So the first one was the diffuse, so we're going to choose diffuse here in Blender, right? And I'm going to turn off the indirect contribution and leave the color. So the influence, under influence, the indirect contribution is like the environment lighting. I don't want any of that. I just want a straight color from all that procedural textures that we did to come straight into this mesh, into this image. And then we're going to make sure selected to active is on, because we have a selected and then we have an active object, right? And that's it. You just have to press bake and see what happens. So I'm just going to press save just to make sure everything is okay. Make sure that you have your diffuse node selected here in your shader editor here. And this image is here. So let's bake it, and you should see it. You should see the computer take the cycles render and draw it here and make a new texture for our wall for the game engine. So let's press bake, and it's going. I'll show you guys the progress. Now this might feel a little, if this is the first time that the progress is happening down here. I think the text of the screen is kind of blocking it. Yeah, basically showing the elapsed time and all that. Right. The blue text on the screen is probably blocking it, guys. But anyways, if this feels really complex, it's because I have like these models, right? These models, complex models. The easiest way to understand this is to take one object and just do something simple. Like you could do a Suzanne head, color it up real nice, a nice material, and try to bake it onto another Suzanne head. I learned how to do this when I was doing buildings and houses and stuff. And because it was oops, let's get rid of this. Because it was I had like a ton of houses to do in a neighborhood, I had to learn how to bake all those houses into one object. And that's how I learned how to do baking like this. And by baking all those individual houses into one house object, the engine that we were using, Unity, we were using Unity at the time. We had large scenes, and like whole cities and stuff. We were doing like city centers and stuff, and we were able to get all that stuff working by just baking into texture and stuff. Yeah, that's how I learned. Okay, so see what it did? It actually baked. It actually baked all the stuff. Now, I think somehow it baked like shadows into here, and I don't know how that happened, but we're gonna have to get to the bottom of that. I'm gonna save this out just to make sure. Let's see here. Da 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 da. Yeah da 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 da. Okay, bake this into textures. Okay, and I want JPEGs. I'm all good with that. You know, this has been working for us. Okay, so first things first. Some of this looks really wrong because there's like some baking issue happening here. What could be happening here? Actually, let's see. Let me think about this for a minute. What could be happening is that other things are influencing the shader here. But I'll show you what I mean. So if I plug this in now in here, it will show up on the low res stuff. So if we select the low res one and we isolate it, see right there? It shows up. Let's take a look. Yeah, this texture looks pretty decent at this resolution. But you see like what's happening here with the thing, there's some overlap happening somewhere. So we just have to figure that part out. It happens from time to time. And another way is like you could just do a lower res render. But let's check this out here. There's different ways to deal with that. Okay, so one way here is like there's an extrusion cage here. Alright, select it to active. But what I like to do, I like to turn off everything else that's not supposed to be influencing the render. So we could just go ahead and do that. I'll just turn that off. Let's come back in here. So everything that's not influencing the render, you could just basically kind of turn off. I turn off the render flag off of it. And even you can even switch off this stuff here like that. We have rocks, vegetation, don't want any of that touching it. Let's see, hidden, selection, hidden section. Okay. So you could turn off all the render flags off of everything that you don't want, you know, that shouldn't be touching it. That was my bad, guys. Like sometimes, you know, like all these kinds of things happen. Like look at that. There's something that's influencing it. Okay. So now we're gonna go ahead and switch off anything here that could be influencing it. And the only render flags that we actually want on would be for the objects that we're baking and the main collection. I can leave the ribs on, leave that. Okay, let's see if we get a better result now. It went pretty good. It's just we got some weird anomalies here, and I think it's because... And also what could happen too is because this is being mirrored, we could make this real to make sure that everything, you know, everything is working properly. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna make that real like that. And let's leave this for now. Okay, so let's try it again. So we're gonna go from here to here. Okay, I think 64 works. 64 resolution. You went to go compose some piano music. Oh, cool. Wow. Do you have like a cool idea, or is it something that you're being paid for, or is it just like an idea you got? Okay, let's try it again, guys. Hopefully we'll get a better result. Color. Let's bring the extrusion up a little. Let's go 3 on the extrusion. It's all good. Okay. Let's go. Let's bake. Oh, you gotta detach that and select this. Okay, let's try it again. Cancel. Okay, let's try it again. Bake. No, this part. Okay, I know what's going on there. You spend 15 minutes making a melody. Okay, only to realize it's this exact same as the Pink Panther theme. Wow. You had some subconscious stuff happening there to you, Mason. Da-dun, 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 da-dun. Is that how it sounded? Oh no. Only slightly different. But just close enough, right? It's like, did this guy get inspired by the Pink Panther theme? Yeah, Nickey's always late in the jokes. Hey, yeah. I was like, it's kind of sounds familiar. Ah, yeah. It happens. It happens. Okay, guys, look, we got it to work now. So now nothing else was influencing it except what we wanted to influence. Look at that. We got our noise, and the noise made like a nice dirt thing. And oh my gosh, this works. Okay, so we're going to save this before it's not savable anymore. Okay, so now that's saved. Right, so when we plug that in, let's go here, the base color. And now if we just look at the wall itself, let's go into the wall, right? Look at that. The cycles render in viewport, right? With all the stuff that we tried to do where the bottom part was dirty and all that. Okay, so we're gonna make the rest of maps. That went pretty quick. The rest of maps should go even quicker. Select that to that. Let's come out of that. This to here. Okay. So the next map we're gonna make is, okay, we just have to go down the list here. So we made the diffuse. We have to make a metalness map. So we're gonna select this, right? Select this other node. Now here you're gonna make a new one, new image. It's kept the 4096 size, which is fine. What are the steps to baking? The steps is first select the object where all the materials and all the textures and all the details. Select that first one, and then you're gonna select the low res model the low res version of the high res model with all the, and then you're gonna give that low res model its own material. That's what I did here, and you're gonna give it the you're gonna make a new blank image, which is what we're about to do here. We're gonna make a new blank image. Come here, and this blank image we're gonna do. This one is for metalness, so I'm gonna put metal. Right, I'm gonna press OK. So we just made a new image here. Select that. Now, if you want to see the new image, you just have to click here and then click back there. Blender has a bug, and there's a new image. It's just black. And we're gonna bake, and you're gonna come here under bake, and you're gonna change this from diffuse, because we already did the diffuse baking. And we're gonna go and we're gonna choose metalness. But Blender, the new Blender has metalness, but this is the old one. It has glossy instead. So we're gonna use that. All right, we're gonna bake the glossiness from the high res stuff. What options are you messing with? The options I'm messing with here is under bake. So if you look under the render tab and you look all the way down, you would see a tab called bake, and that allows you to bake all the texture information and all the material information and all the detail from one high-res object to a low-res one, or just another object. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going from the high-res complex material that we just made into a simple game ready material. So let's bake this glossy map as the metalness map here for the game engine. So we already have our two things selected, and we change this to glossy, and all we have to do is hit bake now. Okay, so now it's gonna transfer all the shiny stuff and put it into its own map. So when we build back the shader in Godot, it's gonna look really nice. The 3D Code has its own version of baking. Blender has its own version. Maya, Max definitely has its own. Yeah, definitely. It's like, yeah, you just hit a button. We just got to know like what to have set up first. That's all. So the object that you're baking all the information to is got to have a new material, a new image. You got to have the new image selected but not connected to the material, right? So like if you look at this image I have here, it's selected but it's not connected as yet to the BSDF. And then you press bake, and you go from one, the high-res object is the one you select first, then you hold Control or Shift to select the low-res one that you're going to bake to. And then you press bake, and it's going to take all the information and put it into the image that you have selected here. And that's what it's doing. This is the image. So it's going to put all the glossy information from that object that we had there into this new image to work in the game engine. So look, there you go, guys. That's all the gloss information, which seems kind of wrong. But we're going to go with it. Whatever it gives us, that's what we're going to go with. I don't think this wall has much glossiness to it. And I think I said that I wanted to do some glossiness. So maybe we go back and look at that at some point. It's pretty flat, but let's just save it. So I'm going to save as, and I'm going to choose a JPEG. That's fine. It's already named. I'm going to press save. Okay. So let's plug that one in. I think we might revisit that one, guys. Put that back there. Okay, that doesn't seem right. I don't know why. Okay, so the other one we're gonna do is the roughness. So we're gonna select this node here, and we're gonna click new, and we're gonna make this the roughness map. Underscore roughness. I like to call it just rough. Or you could type roughness. It's no big deals. Press OK. Here we are, we have the new roughness map, and under bake we're going to change it from glossy to roughness. Right? If you want to make sure we have the right map selected, remember you click on one before and then click on the new one. Then you see then you see the empty image that we just created here for the roughness, and let's bake it now. Press bake, and it's gonna send all the roughness information to this image. I may have to look at the original material to make sure that we get good metalness and glossiness and all that. Because I think earlier I said I wanted the wall to be a slightly glossy, and I didn't do it. And I think, or sheen, tab aside sheen, yeah. And then like Mason said, hey, you should turn up the sheen slider. So I guess I should have listened to Mason. Okay, so now it's building the map. It's at 33%. You guys can't see it because the blue text with all the information on the screen is blocking the progress bar. You can kind of see an orange bit under the Exercise 3000 blue text there. You can kind of see something. Okay, it's at 72%. It's almost done. $83. Okay, I'm crossing my fingers for a good roughness map. Okay, here we go. Okay, 100%. It's rendering it. Oh, there you go. That roughness map looks pretty good because you can see detail in it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and save. Let's go file, image, save as, and change it to a JPEG. And it already has its name, roughness. Save that. We could plug the roughness into the roughness slot here. Right. So the last map we're gonna do is the normal map. So same thing. We're gonna select this node here. I'm gonna click new. I'm gonna paste my name in there, and then I'm gonna type underscore norm for normal. And you know the normal map actually gives objects depth. That's what makes objects look really, really detailed in a game engine. Yeah, that roughness map was all the roughness that I put into the original complex shader that you saw. It pulled that roughness map out of that complex shader. So Blender does all the work there for you. Okay, so I have this normal map, and remember, if you want to see the empty map, you got to click on the one you had before and then click on the new one, and it shows you the empty map. I'm going to change the bake mode from roughness to normal. So we're going to bake normals. Right, so I'm going to press bake now. There you go. Yeah, it's super cool. Once you get accustomed to doing it like a couple times, you're not gonna feel so bad about making shaders like complex, with a lot of nodes and stuff. Because you're gonna be like, wow, I just have to do it the one time, I am going to go back and look at try to give the wall a little bit of sheen so we can get a nice glossy / metallicness map. So I'm going to take Mason's suggestion earlier, basically. And I'll show you guys how to work this stuff. I'll show you guys in a minute. After this bakes, I'm going to show you guys how to know what the maps are going to look like. 3D code, baking in 3D code is even easier. But Blender is definitely better for like just doing anything, you know. Sometimes my shaders get big and complex because yeah, you had bad habit of adding color saturation and brightness. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, you gotta be careful. Yeah. For some reason, good thing you mentioned that, Mason. Guys, you know, anybody out there. For some reason, oh look, Blender baked a normal map of the wall. This is awesome. So we're gonna save this before. You gotta be careful. Whenever Blender generates these things, you gotta save them because if you play around too much, it will actually erase it if it's not saved. So just a little heads up. It has happened to me already. So okay, so we have normal, save. Okay, so now with the normal here, because we have the normal map baked, you're gonna change it from sRGB color space to non-color. It's gonna turn it a little bit wider, but it's gonna display in Blender a whole lot better. Take the color thing and plug it into the normal map strength, and voila, there we go. Our material for the game engine is done. We could basically export that model into Godot, and it would look as good as the cycles render. Let's see what the low-res wall with all the shaders attached look like. This is what it looks like, guys. That's what the wall looks like. Right? I'm digging it. The only thing I gotta do now is I just gotta mirror it so it gets back the same treatment like everything else. There you go. I see, and I make it back. It's mirrored now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and save. Yeah, when you add, for some reason, when you add like a lot of white into when you add like a lot of bright colors, this is something we realized. I don't know if Cycles overcame this, but I remember using V-Ray and even Mental Ray, and anytime you add like any kind of color approaching white, especially with Arnold, I also did use the Arnold renderer. Anytime you put pure white, it takes the renderer forever to render that image. So sometimes you have to back away on the white a little bit and go like a little bit less than white. I don't know why that is. So when you add like brightness and oversaturation, sometimes it just sits there. I remember the renderer sitting on that bright spot for like ever. I remember that. I was like, what? So what we used to do, we used to kind of make everything not so white, and then later we used to like, you know, in After Effects or in Photoshop, we used to add like levels to make it brighter. Because the light is depending on the color. Oh, okay. If there's more black, then the light doesn't go that far. Doesn't go as far. Yeah. It also didn't like too much black. I think. Yeah, if you had like things falling into, it's something like that. I can't remember. It's mega cool, Mason. Okay, guys, so I'm getting this asset here game ready. I'm gonna go ahead and save this. All right. So remember, I said like I wanted to make the wall a little shinier. So this is what I'm gonna do. I am going to let's go back in here. All right. I'm gonna get rid of the mirror for now. Right. And I'm gonna hide the low res stuff. I'm just only gonna look at this wall here. This is a high res wall, and I want to see some shine. I want to see a little gloss on here, and I think like for some reason it didn't have it. So let's take a look. You ran into that today. Try to render something in darkish blue. Okay, and couldn't get the light to go very far. Right. Yeah, lighting is a whole. Yeah, that's a whole thing when it comes to different colors. I know like I know back in the day, like televisions, like, you know, tube TVs used to struggle with red. So whenever we did red, we couldn't do pure red. we still have to like put some black in the red or mute the red down in order for it to show on TV. Because if ever like we made something like too red on TV, the red would bleed. You'd actually see like this big swash of red go across the screen. It was so fun. It wasn't funny, but you know, it was something, you know. So I always have this thing about like adding too much red into things, you know, or bright red. You can't add like 100% RGB red, you know, like red. Yeah, so like even like noise, like if you add like noise, if you actually add like a noisy texture to like an object and you try to render it, like literally like grainy noise into a texture and try to render it, it'll always take a little longer on that object. Little things like that. Oh man. Okay, so I'm gonna look and see what what shininess we're getting here. So I think here in Blender, you see how it has this render pass here in the viewport. Let's look at gloss. Let's see if it has gloss or shiny. Specular color, specular light. Specular light. See here, specular color. Is that what we got? Let's go back to combine. Let's go here. Let's render here. Okay, combine. Ah, here we go. Gloss. What did we use? We used gloss color. That's what we had. We had like a flat thing. Okay, so I'm gonna have to take a look at this. Oh boy. Let's come out of this. Yeah, sometimes that's the hardest thing to judge is like glossiness. You have to look at things at an angle to get that. I'm gonna have to roam around the structure here, guys, to see if I could see something like that. Hold on. I'm trying to get some sheen. Alright, I think you have to view things at an angle like this. Okay, let's see if we can get some gloss happening on this part right here. On this thing right here. Hold on. Okay. We got to go back into the big shader. Okay, so this is the concrete panel. This is the roughness. Okay, so yeah, that's plugged right in. Yes, you see, that's why, because the specularity is down so much that it didn't pick up on anything. It didn't pick up any specular and any metal, so that was my bad. Let me turn that up. Let's see what we get. Okay, so now we're getting some sheen happening. You guys can't see it that well because it's kind of white. You might see a little bright spot here, and that's what that is. I'm going to turn up the metalness a little bit. Let's turn the specularity down, turn the metalness all the way up. Let's see, and we have roughness, right? I'm gonna bring the roughness over. Hold on, guys. Let's bring this roughness thing over here. Bring that, because I want to disconnect it. So right now I'm trying to debug the texture so I can get some more oomph out of it. You turn the roughness down, and you can get, it looks like a mirror, right? That's straight up metalness. The reason why it doesn't look so mirror-like is because there's a normal map that's kind of roughing things up a bit, but that's fine. We can see some reflections of other structures in here. Let's bring this, let's turn the specularity. Specularity, they say you shouldn't change it from 0.5. Let's stick with that. That's what they say. The metalness, let's bring the metalness down because it's not a metal wall, but we just want a little bit just to show some slight. Okay, is the reflection coming up there? Okay, yeah, I can see it. So I'm gonna go instead. I'm gonna go 0.1 in the metalness. Let's go 0.2. It's all good. 0.2. Specularity. Okay, I'm gonna plug the roughness back in. Right, so it still looks really shiny. I guess that's probably why I turned it down. Okay, I see why. Because right here, the roughness is only happening here, and then this is a little bit of sheen happening on here. Let's zoom out and see what we get. I, yeah, you could see it really well right here. I'll show you guys. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Right there. See that? Okay. I'm going to turn that down to 0.3, turn on the specularity a little bit. That looks good. Metalness is good. Roughness is good. Okay, so I think if I try to pull like a shininess map from this, we'll get something. One way to check is to come here on the combine and just look under the gloss color. Yeah, there's something slight, so we could get something from that. Go back to combine. Let's do it. Still feel a little weird about it, guys, but if I turn that to 0, what happens there? That looks a little bit better. Let's do this one, 0.15. Yeah, like that. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna pull this map now from this. Get a slight sheen. Also, what could happen too is that for the roughness, I could add more, there could probably be a little more like depth to this map. But I guess this is fine. Yeah, this is fine. Let's go ahead and pull this Let's go save. Right? I'm going to go back into oh, we're in UV editing already. Let's just put it back here. Let's do like that. Okay, so we're gonna go. Let's turn back on our low resolution model. So we're gonna go from this high resolution to the low resolution. There we go. And we want to rebake this this metal map, because this metal map was kind of like there's nothing in here. Let's see if we can get something now. Let's select that. Go back to bake on the render. Bake. And instead of normal, we now want to get the glossy. And we should get something now. Okay, let's try it. Bake. Okay, it's rebaking it. Woo! Is this fun and exciting? What do you think? You think it's fun and exciting, Nikki?
Boring!
What? Blender's never boring. Oh. Watching something bake is like watching paint dry on a wall. Tons of fun. You know what would be cool though? Make some. Why don't you send us a snippet of your of the melody you're making? Let's see if it sounds like, you know. Let's see if it sounds like the Pink Panther theme. And sometimes, you know, we are our own harsh critics, you know. Aha, we got something. Glossy. Yeah, look. It actually did. It actually did a proper map. Let's save this. Quick save. Yeah, save a metalness map. So you're gonna take this, plug this into metalness. There we go. Okay, let's view what this looks like. Does I think that looks, yeah, that looks better. Look like what it's doing right here. See that kind of like thing there? Let's here under on the normal map. Put on the color. Now the strength is 1. Yep. Okay. All right. So this asset. This one asset is finished. Let's go ahead and save this. And sometimes if like when you do stuff like this and you find like it's not, it's not, thing enough, you could like literally go and open the images in like the Gimp and add some contrast to them by adding like some levels and that kind of thing. I think this is fine. I think that should have a little more strength, 0.2 on the normal map. Oh, sorry, 2 I mean. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's rough. That's some rough stuff right there. The normal map may have been too subtle, so I put in like 2 right here. Let's go ahead and add our mirror modifier. Bam. So this is what I would call finished. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make this real by doing Control C, convert everything into like a singular mesh that's mirrored, and I'm going to put that into my export folder. My export, my export collection. And yeah, let's come out of here. Okay, so the only other thing we gotta do 2 more things. Would be the ribs here and this wall. The ribs here we follow the same exact prescription, same exact method. So I'm gonna select the ribs here. I'm gonna duplicate it. I'm gonna get rid of the mirror. So we have the one thing here. We're gonna delete the extra materials off of this. Gonna go Control A. Let's just take a look at how this is laid out. I like the way this is laid out already for the ribs. You don't have to do anything different. This is good to go. Right. Let's create a new. Let's select this here. Let's call this metal ribs low underscore low low res. I'm gonna select all that. I'm gonna go new underscore matte, and we just made a new game ready material for it. Right, and let's go ahead and make all maps that we have to bake. Let's go image texture, right? We're gonna go a new image texture, right? 4096. I don't think we need 4096 for this, but let's go 2048 by 2040. Let's see what we get. Oh, maybe 4096 might work. No, let's go 2048. And let's do that. So that's low res, and let's go underscore DIF. We don't want no alpha. Let's press OK. And let's duplicate this 4 times for the 4 different materials. 1, 4. Let's break out a normal map of the vector. Normal map. Okay, so that's ready to go. Okay, we got this selected here. Okay, and as in usual fashion, we're gonna go from this here to that. We're gonna go straight into there, and under bake, we're gonna choose what we want to bake. All right, we're gonna bake the diffuse map first into here. This should go a lot quicker. Go bake. All right, so we're gonna go from one thing to the other thing. I think the important thing is to make sure that your render flags are turned off of all the things you don't want to influence the object. And only the ones that you're baking from and to, you leave those render flags on. And the render flags is the little camera icon next to the eye icon in your scene list in Blender. Okay, so this is something new, guys. All the music that you're hearing in the background is music that I've made over the years. Yeah, all the music you're hearing is music that I've made, and because I was getting hit up with copyright for using other free music and stuff like that. Like, it would be free when I download it and we're playing it, and then later on it'll be like copyrighted. And then I'll get copyright strikes. So to avoid that, I'm just using all my music. So hopefully it's varied enough to not be totally annoying to anyone that's listening. Okay, so yeah, look at that. That's baked down. Let's take a look. It looks a little odd, but I think it works. Some of the stuff that we have in here didn't really pull through, but I think this is good enough for now. Let's go ahead and save this. Save as. Let's go to JPEG, 100%. Yep, and this looks all good to go. Let's go ahead and save that. Right, so that's the diffuse. That's done. Let's keep it moving. This one here is going to be our metalness. Yeah, so this has room for metalness. Okay, that's great. Let's go ahead and click new. Put our thing in there, underscore, call this a metal. Go ahead and save that. Alright. Select this, then that. We're going to bake metalness onto this. So we're going to change from diffuse to glossy to get our metalness happening. Okay, that's ready, good to go. Let's hit bake. Yeah, and that's it, guys. Once you have it set up once, you just select stuff and bake to something else, and that's how it goes. From the detail high-res model with complex materials to the low-res simple game-ready version of the model with a simple material, right? I don't think like all those nodes in Blender, and this may trip some people up going from Blender to a game engine, is that you could do all these fancy nodes to look at something maybe in Eevee and maybe and for sure in cycles, but when you go to export it in a game engine, like I don't know if those nodes actually come over. I don't think so, because some of those nodes are cycle specific and and Blender specific. So that might trip some people up. I'm thinking. I think most game engines like very simple materials coming from what they call a DCC. Okay, here we are. So this is a metalist map. Let's save this. Save as. Save it as a JPEG. 100%, and everything is already named properly. I'm gonna plug this into the metalness part now. Right, in metallic. Okay, so now the other one is a roughness map. I'm gonna select the node that we duplicated. I'm gonna click here to make a new one, paste my name in, I'll do underscore roughness. Okay, press OK. Let's see here, that looks fine. I'm gonna change the bake mode to roughness now. Remember, if you want to see the new map, you got to click the old one and click on the new one, and boom, you got the empty map. Everything's already selected already in Blender. Just have to hit bake, and it's gonna grab all the roughness. So we're almost done, guys. All we got to do now will be the wall, and then we could load this up in the engine. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit quiet and just do the rest of these, and you know, once I'll come back, you know, I'll pick back up the mic when we're ready to send it into Godot. Yo, Spencer Magnuson, what's up? How you doing? Hello, how are you, sir? How are you doing this afternoon? A busy day? That's awesome. So how did the tutorial turn out? Are you happy with the results? Ah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, mic quality is definitely a thing you want to have. Want to have some good quality audio, especially if you're doing the narration afterwards, you know. Ah, right. That makes sense. Like my AC just quit, so you know you don't hear all that noise. Ah, the things we have to go through. Okay, diffuse. Oh wow! I couldn't imagine how that Tomb Raider looks. You know that Spider-Man remastered? I actually have that, and I sometimes play that on stream. Have you ever seen any of the streams with me playing Spider-Man remastered with that RTX stuff turned on? Have you ever seen those? No, it's pretty much Spider-Man swinging from building to building. But it's a lot of fun. Do you like that game? I love that game. Oh, okay, okay. I don't play it a whole lot because it's like one of those things where, you know, if I'm streaming, it's kind of like, oh, I'm gonna make it a productivity stream rather than a gaming stream. But yeah, that's cool though. Like, how is that Tomb Raider? Probably a lot of fun. I think I've seen stuff on that. It looks pretty good. Oh, they run really good. You know what game looks amazing on these RTX cards is Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh my gosh. That game is amazing. I'm trying to get it to run on my Linux system here. It used to run like no problem, but all of a sudden it's like I think something changed. There's an update or something and it kind of broke it a little bit, but when it runs, oh my gosh, I could live in that game. That game is so great. Do you have Red Dead Redemption 2 also? What? Yeah, check out Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't know if they have a new one coming out, but that one, man, the graphics and just I think that's the most sophisticated game I've ever played. You could like ride a horse, you could tame the horse, you could hunt. I mean, you could skin the animals, you could sell the animals for meat, you could fish. And the game is just so vast. Oh my gosh. Ducks for cover. I thought I know it's good. I've watched vids of it, just never got around to it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that game is so much fun. What am I currently playing? The game I spend most of the time in is Warframe. You know, I may be changing that soon. I used to spend a lot of. I used to have a server for Rust, and I played Rust a whole lot, like a whole lot. And then now I'm playing Warframe, and I think I might actually change that. Split Second. What is that game? I play a lot of simulation games too, like American Truck Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator, stuff like that. Wow, I gotta check that out. Split Second, huh? That sounds like a lot of fun. I used to like playing Burnout Paradise. Are you familiar with that game? I used to love to play that game. Oh my gosh. I'll look it up, okay? Yeah, I'll look it up. Oh, you used to play Burnout too? Man, I got all the concept cars, like all like the DeLorean and oh my gosh, that game was so much fun. I love the music. It was just so relaxing and fun, and it definitely helped me cope with a lot of like stress and stuff back in the day. Take me down to Paradise City where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Oh, won't you please take me home? Yeah, yeah. Right, yeah, Criterion. That's the people that took over for NF in 2000 reboot. Right. Yeah, the Criterion. Yeah, I remember that's the developers. Yeah. Wow. Man, I used to play that game way too much. Oh, won't you please take me home? Yeah, yeah. Dan, da, da, dan, da, da, dan, da, dan, 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 da, da, dan, da, da. The music for me was amazing. Like they played the music that used to annoy me when the music first came out, but now in the game it sounds so good. Yup. Okay, I'm gonna look up that split second. Oh, wow. Oh, it's kind of like a burnout. Let's take a look at this.
Over the next 12 exciting episodes, contestants from around the world will battle it out on the track with the aim of qualifying for the chance to race the split-second elite. This band of highly trained drivers are all that stand between the contestants going home and progression to the next round. As the contestants choose which events they want to enter, aiming to earn enough credits to qualify to the Elite Championship race, bridges will fall. Buildings reduced to clouds of dust, and no corner can be considered safe. Drivers, choose your events carefully, and remember to buckle up. It's about to get explosive out there.
Wow, this looks amazing. Nice. So it's like car combat. Wow. Well, okay then. Yeah, it looks great. And thanks for sharing. I'll check. I'll definitely. That has to be on Steam then, so I'll check that out. Okay guys, I just got like a weird anomaly here where part of what I wanted rendered on here. I don't know why the rest didn't, but we'll figure that out at some point. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe because I didn't make this real, maybe that's why. I'm gonna Make that real. Oh man, the AC is so loud. It's on Steam. It's weird port. It's a weird port, so I can't give you tips on setting it up. If you get to that point, okay, okay. I think it, does it run on Linux? Using Proton, Okay, I could look up the Proton database and see how it performs. Right, I hope it's frame cap by default though. Yeah. Let's see if we could pull the last normal map. If we could get normal map working on this, then we'll be set, guys. Da, 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 da. Not sure why that one map came out like that. It's a little angering, but we'll see. Okay guys, I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a quick break while this last map renders, and then we'll load it into the game engine and see what everything looks like. Okie dokie, be right back. Okay guys, I'm back and this stuff is finished rendering, and I remember seeing this one anomaly here, and I think I know what this is. This is the other object affecting the maps, but that's all good. Oh yeah, Spencer Magnuson. I just was wondering if he was in. Yep, just EV and cycles. Okay, cool. Nope, no big deals. Song's good. I know there's a couple other renderers you could hook up to Blender. I know there was a couple free ones like Yaffa. I don't know if you ever checked out Yaffa Ray before with Blender, or I was telling Mason about. Hold on here. I was telling Mason about Redshift and Arnold. Yeah, I've used Arnold. Arnold is amazing. Arnold, the stuff looks pretty realistic. Yeah, Yaffa Ray is pretty old. I remember using that back in the day, and on the newest one that's still around, but you can't really use it with no blend. You can use it with the old blender. It's Lux Core Renderer. Yeah, that one is pretty realistic too. I mean, Lux is pretty realistic, pretty high quality renderer. But for some reason, I think they're still testing out Lux, the newest Lux on the newest Blender. But I think you're going to use it with Blender 2 point something or the other, which is a pretty old version of Blender. Yeah, and Yaffa Ray is pretty old. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so we don't want that. We want this. And I'm going to... I wonder why. See, I'm coming up to this point here where I'm still not getting any detail in this thing. I think it's nothing is contributing to the detail in that, so we're gonna have to look at that. But this looks fine so far, I guess. So yeah, so let's put this away in export. Okay, so now we could close the working collection and let's open the export collection. Let's take a look at these assets. Yeah, so that's what I thought. I knew that the side of that was what was influencing that. And all we need is just that one side and we'll be okay. But just to make sure that things are proper, let's go right ahead and let's mirror that. Let's open the working one. I'm gonna select this one, and we're gonna put the cursor in the middle. Right, just like so. Let's close the working one, and let's move that to the middle right there. Insert. Yep. Now we could do this. Oops. Undo that. Select that. Mirror that. Like so. Let's go ahead and fix up these, finish up these materials here a little bit here. Let's go ahead and this material up here. Just make sure this is one-sided. Backface culling. Okay, let's just double check. Yeah, this could be one-sided also. Excuse me. One-sided backface culling. Okie dokes. So this is looking pretty okay for now. So the things that we actually are going to export, let's select that. We're going to export terrain tiles like this. Export the water level. Now that's all on the terrain. We're going to export the structure. Let's go ahead and make a new collection. Call this oh, we're gonna make sure and rename the terrain properly also. Structures. Okay, so we got these structures, yep. And then we got the terrain. Let's make sure these are named properly. Yep, lovely. We could work with that. Let's change this water level to let's go make sure the things, half of the battle is like making sure stuff is like named properly or named in a way that makes sense. Let's see here. So got that, and this is just periphery stuff, right? We don't need to, this is we already have representations of this in the engine, so we're gonna use what's in engine to recreate this. But we could just export these as standings, but maybe we select these and we can make a folder called stand. We make a collection called stand-in. Let's do that. Alright, so all these. Come on, you could do it. Let's call these stand-ins. Okay. Let's go export, make a new one. Stand-in. Stand-in objects. There you go. Oh, it's a lot of stand-in objects. Okay, so I mean, we don't really care. We wouldn't only export those, for, if needed. Oh, you gotta jump off? Yeah, no problem. Hey, thanks for stopping by and sharing about your game and what you're doing. Yeah, absolutely. I'll see you later. Yeah, see ya. Have a good one. Yep, take it easy, Spencer Magnuson. See, stand-in objects. Okay. Let's hide everything else. Okay, so these extra things don't have let's see, section. Okay. Ooh, this is like extra stuff. Let's just put this into collection. Actually, what's in collection? There's nothing in there. Okay, let's put that in collection. Let's leave the UVs out though. Okay, hide that. These UV objects we could, well, let's put them in collection. I mean, this should correspond with the, okay, I'm gonna put those in working. Okay, there you go. Much better. Okay, these are the things that we're gonna kind of export. Minus standing objects is a maybe. The one thing that's bothering me, guys, is the fact that I didn't have much here in the roughness. The roughness should have like some stuff happening in there, but you know what, we're just gonna leave it. Just gonna leave it. Might give it a different quality. Okay, let's go into layout here. Go ahead, file, save. Okay, we're gonna export. So let's go ahead and export this, and I'll see you guys in Godot.
You're too smart for me, sister.
Okay guys, a little sneak peek of me putting this together here a little bit. The terrain needs a little more work. There's an extra layer of shading that I put on the terrain, which is like a displacement shader. It gives it a little more depth to it. So let's look at the wall here. I believe the wall is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Check out a level here for a minute. Okay guys, hold on a second. Okay, I'm gonna save the scene. I'm gonna leave it as is for now. We're gonna come back and we're gonna populate this thing with we're gonna try to populate this with some trees and grass and different things like that. I have to do collision mesh on this. So there's all sorts. If you're into level design and doing this kind of and learning about this stuff, this is definitely gonna happen here. So I gotta split, guys. Gotta, just like you guys, I gotta do other things. But we reach a ways here, and I believe that yeah, it's looking, it's coming along. It's coming along. Yeah. It's coming to come. It's coming along. All right, so yeah, there's a little extra stuff we do to the terrain to give it a little more oomph, and that kind of thing. So yeah, that stuff has to come. Okay, we got the water to flow and all that sort of stuff. All right, guys, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Again, thanks to everybody for stopping by, saying hello. As usual, Mason, Spencer, Magnuson, everybody, hey, I hope you enjoyed this little, this again, yet another warm-up into doing level design and game art. So we'll continue along these roads. I'll see you guys in a little bit. God bless. Take it easy. And yeah, keep doing the things you love. I'll see you guys in a little bit, okay?